Hello, my name is Brother Brian Vaccaro. I'm a seminarian with the Redemptorists here at St. Gerard's Parish in San Antonio, Texas. Today we are celebrating the feast of St. Agnes. And I'd like to begin my reflection by reading the responsorial psalm from our liturgy today, which is taken from Psalm 40. Here I am, Lord, I come to do your will. Sacrifice or oblation you wished not, but ears open to obedience you gave me. Burnt offerings or sin offerings you sought not. Then said I, behold, I come. Here I am, Lord, I come to do your will. In the written scroll it is prescribed for me to do your will. O my God is my delight, and your law is within my heart. Here I am, Lord, I come to do your will. I announced your justice in the vast assembly. I did not restrain my lips, as you, O Lord, know. Here I am, Lord, I come to do your will. May all who seek you exult and be glad in you, and may those who love your salvation say ever, the Lord be glorified. Here I am, Lord, I come to do your will. The psalmist emphasizes that we are called to do the will of God in our lives. And we find an excellent example of this in St. Agnes. Both in her words and in the way she lived her life, she tried to do the will of God. Not much is known about her, but we believe she was born in the late 3rd century. And as a young girl, she committed herself and dedicated herself to Christ. She saw herself as a spouse of Christ and refused the various marriage proposals that came her way. As a Christian, she took her faith seriously. And when the Roman authorities tried to dissuade her from her faith and have her offer recognition to the Roman gods and serve in the temple of Vesta, she refused. She refused because she knew that she believed in the one true God, and she had made a commitment to Jesus as his spouse. And this commitment, this steadfastness in her faith, cost her her life. Eventually, she was killed, and the Christians were so impressed with her example, her witness, that she's included in the list of saints that appears in Eucharistic Prayer 1. She lived her life in word and in deed, steadfastly doing the will of God. And she serves as an excellent example for us as to how we are called to live our lives. As Christians, both in word and in deed, we are expected to do the will of God. And what does that will look like? In word, we can do it in various ways. Sometimes we'll be presented with situations where somebody asks a question about the faith. Or maybe we have children in our family that we can teach about the faith. And by speaking our words, we can help them to learn. We can speak out in situations where we see injustice, whether in the form of racism, discrimination, or the destruction or harm of innocent human people. Another way is by speaking out when we encounter policies or ideologies or programs that we know run contrary to the beliefs of our faith. Or we can offer a word of encouragement, a word of consolation to those that we encounter who are sorrowing and suffering in a difficult situation. We're also called to do so in our actions, in how we live our lives. And we can also do this in a variety of ways, whether it's reaching out to those that are disadvantaged in our society by offering them something such as food or clothing or shelter. Maybe it's spending time with the sick or those that are homebound. Maybe it's reaching out to those that are lonely, having a conversation with them and conveying to them, God sees you, you matter. In all of these situations, whether in word or in deed, we are called to do God's will, to bring God's message of love, salvation, that God cares for each of us. We are called to bring this message to the world. St. Agnes lived the call of our responsorial psalm in her life. She did the will of God, both in word and in action, and ultimately it cost her her life. We are also called to do God's will in word and in action, even if it does cost us greatly. On this feast of St. Agnes, let us look to her as a model, and let us ask her to help us to persevere in our call. St. Agnes, pray for us. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time.